In this episode, we continue our oil processing plant by setting up the packages for unpackaging of fuel, research and unlock compacted coal and turbofuel in the MAM, set up the final refineries of the oil platform that will produce the turbofuel for us, and much more. Yo, hello everybody, welcome back to Prone to Play and my Let's Play series of Satisfactory. In the last episode we started our setup for oil processing in the blue crater, and today we are going to continue that. But before I go over there again, I want to give you a quick update what happened in between episodes. Okay, so the first thing that I did in the maintenance in between episodes is fixing our lifts from our main buses that connect the modular factories to the transporting conveyor belts that brings everything to the central storage. Because in episode 17 some of you mentioned that the lifts can actually be unlimited length if we make use of a floor hole. Total X Clips showed this in a recent video, and I actually knew that this was a thing, but I didn't know how to execute it. And basically it's only important to 1. Start with a fixed point and then lead the conveyor lift into the floor hole, and 2. Do not delete the floor hole because this will delete the whole lift. I also took the time to do some maintenance in our steel factory because every once in a while I noticed that the productivity was below 100%. And after some research I found the reason, which was the Mark I conveyor belt at the 2 foundries that provide iron ore to the foundries for the steel pipes, because it actually has to be a Mark II. The first foundry only needs 45 iron ore and 75 have to be transported further, but the Mark I conveyor belt was only able to provide 60, so after fixing that everything runs smoothly since. And I also tried to experiment some more with smart splitters, as you can see here, in order to get everything provided as equally as possible, but now everything is at 100% maximum efficiency. Next I prepared the empty canisters that we will need for our oil setup. That's hopefully going to be finished today. And the constructor that I set up for this is already gone again, since we already prepared a couple of thousand empty canisters. And right after the constructor was gone, I set up another temporary manufacturer to produce some supercomputers. We will need a couple of hundred of these in the next few hours, because we have to do some research with using supercomputers and we have to complete some milestones with them as well. So I wanted to have 200 or so prepared for the future as well. And last but not least, I searched the desert as well as the blue crater for a whole bunch of power slugs in order to convert them to power shards, because I decided in between episodes that we will actually overclock the fuel generators that will come on top of the oil setup. And in order to be able to do that, we need close to 150 power shards. Okay, and with that out of the way, let's continue our journey. Now you see already the to-do list is basically the continuing setup for our oil process. And today we are actually not going to take the hypertube cannon over there, because I was a little bit more busy and I haven't catched up for everything right now. As you can see here, I also built a train connection between the central storage and the blue crater oil processing plant. Let's take a look from above. And here you can see the train track leading all the way across the desert into the next areas. We will take this in a minute, but I just want to mention that I have not cleaned this up completely yet. But I tried to set it up as clean as possible. Let's just take the train and I can show you there what I mean. I tried to prepare all the necessary items for today. The empty canisters, now completed. Computers, quick wire motors, heavy modular frames, everything that we should need for today. For the refineries, the last ones. The packagers to unpackage the packaged fuel, and the fuel generators as well. So let's go. And I tried to implement the track as clean as possible into the environment, so that it's not a simple straight line, It will have some bends, some curves, and I worked with the walking platforms and rotated them a little bit by holding control and using the mouse wheel, mostly by 10 degrees per foundation, but sometimes 20 if I had to do sharper turns. But you will see. So I would like to take you on this journey for at least one time so that you can see where this train track leads. And of course I'm aware that I have to set up foundations and support pillars or something similar underneath still, but I will do this later. And we are already leaving the desert, coming close to the area that connects the swamp with the desert, and I actually don't know if there's a dedicated name for this, but it's a little bit shorter anyways. So in this area at first you can see I initially tried to bend or lead the train tracks underneath this extension from the pillars, but the 4-meter foundation or the 4-meter ramp, that's the steepest, is too steep for train tracks, so I had to cut this idea, and I still have to clean this up, but I wanted to show you that this was the initial idea, but I wasn't able to execute it properly, so I went like this. And we go straight over the swamp, leave it behind us. And I have no idea if update 8 will completely screw up this train track, because I lead it sometimes very close by these rock formations, and some of them might change drastically in the future with upcoming update 8, since they are remodeling everything, or at least taking everything on the workbench again. So there might be some changes, but if that's the case, we simply will have to rearrange the train tracks. And I forgot to take the right turn. This is basically the opposite direction of where it has to go, but yeah, can't be helped. Usually the train goes straight and then turns left, comes into the station and stops right here, and then can go back. Now, for now we only will work with this one train, so there's no need in using signals or bypasses or something like that. But as soon as we will have a more complex train station, if even, or a train network, we will have to implement things so that these can navigate along each other, but this is not necessary for now since we are only using one train, excuse me. I also took the time to do some cosmetics over here. I already set up the second floor foundations, and I experimented a little bit with ramps, frame ramps, how different styles of supportive look. For example, here we have parallels, diagonal support pillars. Here we have X-shaped, and I tried both things out, and I wanted to see how each version looks. I have still not decided yet, but yeah, as you can see, I tried to implement a little bit cosmetics. Next up, I prepared all the oil extractors already, and I decided to go with a very industrial rough look and encased everything in these frame wall houses. So it's very open spaced, but everything has, or every oil extractor has its little own house. So does this one, and the two over here as well. And here we have a little construction for the pipeline as well. And the last two oil extractors in the cave, the pure ones, which have their own encasing as well. And I try to fit the oil processing steampunk / industrial revolution style, which is why I went a lot with steel frameworks and stuff. So this looks everything very robust, very industrial-like. And I think this will be the theme for this site in general. Next up, I already took care of some power lines. And in order to have it as visible as possible and at the same time hide the cables itself, I went with painted beams alongside these refineries, set up wall outlets directly in front of each refinery, connected everything, and now we have, it looks, I tried to make it look as clean as possible, but I also thought about every manufacturing or every factory in this world has some red pillars, some red marks or something inserted anywhere. So I thought about doing a little bit more color and I painted these red. Same for the packagers and for the water extractors as well. And also realized that I still have to change all these pipelines to Mark II because we are exceeding the 300 meters cubed of water here, but I will do this soon. And I also worked out a little bit of more logistics for the package fuel, for example. It's basically the same setup as on the input. We always have maximum of 8 refineries connected to each other, getting merged, so that we never exceed the 480 parts per minute getting transported by each conveyor line. And the last one is again a singular one. Everything is leading up through floor holes, and above is currently nothing set up because we will take care of this today. So simply the other side of the floor holes are empty at the moment, but this is why we are here today, because we want to continue this setup. Anything else? No, I think that was it. So let's go above. And there's one lonely packager already, because here we will have to think about a setup for 17 packagers in order to unpackage the fuel again. And I have not thought about a setup for this, so hold please. Okay, the packages for unpackaging fuel are set up now. Now, what did you just see? Basically, the packaged fuel comes from down below, from these 17 refineries, getting transported on 3 different conveyor lines, leading up to here. This one is a Mark 1, everything else now that has to be Mark 4, I already changed to Mark 4 by, for example, these few. And now the first conveyor belt, the Mark 1, gets led up to here and feeds into this one packager on its own, and the other two are split evenly again on 2 times 8 packagers respectively. Since I wanted to have the conveyor lines as clean and as short as possible, I decided to lift them above the packagers. Initially I thought that I wanted to wind them around these packagers and feed them behind them over here, and then have 3 lines going on the ground. But since we don't use this space in the air up a little bit higher, we don't use it anyways, so I wanted to raise these a little bit. And although it looks kind of messy over here with all these stackable poles and everything a little bit clutched up together, I'm still happy with the result in a logistical matter, because the first 8 packages will get their input from this one. This lift, I moved it a little bit closer to the splitter as well, and everything will lead into here, getting split from this one to the next 7 up until here. And the last 8 packages will receive their packaged fuel from this conveyor belt, getting transported down here as well. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did I miscount? Damn it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Whoopsie. This one is wrong. Always double check. But no problem. Fixed already. Okay. I still have to take care of the power lines, but this is a matter for maintenance in between episodes. Let's take packages off the list. And actually, let's add another thing to the to-do list, because we still have to include the empty canister loop, which is the output from these 17 packagers and has to be the input for the other 17 down under. And I still have to think about how to do this. The idea is simple, but I still want to have a clean look. But not now. Instead, let's think about the next task, which is setting up refineries. And I want to have 17 turbofuel refineries, but again, I have not thought about how to do it. I'm thinking about actually separating a little bit of the turbofuel, package it, and then have it available for something else. But the details will be settled later. Instead, since I want to have some turbofuel split, it might be logical to have it close to the train station. So maybe set down the 17 refineries on this side. And then once we have to worry about the fuel generators, we can extend this floor in this direction as well, because there we will hit a dead end pretty soon because of the environment. But here we have plenty of more open space. Yeah, I think this will be the idea. So let's set down 17 foundations on this side, and then once we have worked out the setup for the fuel generators, which I have not done either until now, we have all the possibilities to extend this platform even further. Okay. Now let's take care of the refineries then. I forgot something. God damn it. Yeah, I thought about how to do this so many times that I have not taken care of it at all. But in order to unlock turbofuel even, we have to still do some research for the compacted coal as well as the turbofuel. So we can't set up the turbofuel yet, and I was about to prepare a blueprint for the refinery, but I cannot insert the recipe. So, before I forget it again, let's quickly pick up some hard drives, because at least conveniently we have 2 crash sites right next to this oil plant. And the first one is right here. And it needs 42 megawatts of power. Can we build biomass burners? Yes, we can. So let's do this then really quick. And insert some biofuel. And this network has 60 megawatts. Alright. Take it. And now we have our first hard drive of the day. Stop hissing, you guys. And the second one is right here as well. And I actually forgot the requirement in order to unlock this. 19 megawatts as well. So let's hurry up a little bit, because there's plenty of gas plants over here. 3 motors, no problem. Hard drive, don't mind me. Some heat sinks, gimme back. And let's get away. Now, what's the next best thing to do? Maybe we just continue with the refineries. No, actually, let me head back to the bases, and then we will take care of the research first. Okay, back at the central storage. I left everything that was on the train back at the oil setup so that I don't have to transport it back and forth already, and once I go back to the oil processing platform, I can simply take the hypertube cannon again, and if I want to come back here, I just set up a single train for transport. I also went to our little tiny bong factory and picked up some sulfur and coal by hand. I don't know how much we need right now, but just in case, I took a couple hundred of each. And without further delay, let's research compacted coal. And now we have the recipe. It just takes coal and sulfur and makes compacted coal in an assembler out of it. And in order to unlock turbofuel, we just need 15. 200 was a little bit ambitious, but still, there's no power here. Let me just go over there. Hello, little friend. By the way, Enel has not found a power slug yet. He simply brings me mostly useless stuff, but he's still a good doggo. Okay, let's do this really quick. Build compacted coal. I'm missing concrete, god damn it. I wanted to have a visual, but let's do this. And this should be good already. Hello. We still have to take care about the or take care of the compacted coal setup. But I have to plan this still, and this will be a matter for later. First things first, unlock turbofuel with a second hard drive, compacted coal and packaged fuel. And now, if we build a refinery, I cleared out my whole inventory and now I'm wondering why I don't have, whoops. All the steel pipes are down in the manufacturing room at the heavy modular frames. I wanted to have a little bit faster paced episode today, but as you can see, as soon as we are lacking preparation, the fast pace is gone completely. Oh, we have 190 supercomputers already, close to the 200. Nice, nice. Okay, turbofuel. Normal fuel with compacted coal gets us turbofuel. And this is what we are going to set up with the next and hopefully last 17 refineries at our oil setup. So let me prepare a blueprint for this really quick, and then I will launch myself back to the blue crater and then we continue our build. Okay, actually I just wanted to head out to the blue crater again, and I passed by Enel by accident and I just wanted to check what he has, if he has found something. And just to make sure, I want to double check that we don't have nuclear power available at the moment. Because what this little guy brings me is uranium waste. What the heck? And I'm actually hesitant to pick this out because I cannot put this into the trash, I cannot throw it away, and it is in fact radioactive. So I have no protection against radioactivity for myself at the moment, because as soon as I pick this up, I will take loads of damage. So thank you very much, but I think you have to keep this for just a little while. Maybe I find a solution in between episodes, or maybe you have an idea what I can do with this right now. But back to the topic, and I see you at the blue crater. Okay, we're back. I already prepared my inventory and the to-do list, aside from marking research, compacted coal and turbofuel as complete. And actually had to double check the numbers again, and I miscalculated the amount of refineries that are necessary in order to produce turbofuel with our 240 compacted coal available in the future, because we only need 16 instead of 17. And I also prepared a blueprint for this, and I made sure to add the blueprint to the to-do list instead of the sole refinery, because the refinery as its own in the to-do list does not account the logistics and cables and so on into the necessary items. So everything is available, and now we just put down 16 refineries. Make sure we have enough space, but if we begin right about here, there should be absolutely no issues. This one has to be the input. And this is how it looks. with compacted coal and fuel as the input. I don't know why, but when you set down a blueprint, the color coding is incorrect. This one will be the same orange color as the pipeline. And then we have turbofuel as a recipe set, and then color-coded pipelines as the output. And same here, this one is this scarlet, crimson, red, whatever its exact definition is. But this is how it looks. And now we simply add 15 more of this. I also already added a little mini power line with wall outlets on top, and I will drag a painted beam across this so that it looks supported and does not float mid-air. But this is actually a lot of time saving because you don't have to go to each refinery and connect it individually, but now I can simply connect them to each other, drag a painted beam, and then the power lines are completed as well. And this is 16 more refineries done in a minute. And next up, we are setting, and I actually have to plan this first, our fuel generators, because I also double checked the numbers here and researched how much power each fuel generator can consume when it's overclocked to 250%. And we actually have to use 360 fuel, which is exactly 6 packages. So these 6 will be separated from the rest and feed into these turbofuel refineries together with the compacted coal. And these turbofuel refineries can provide a little bit less than 27, I think it's 26.666 and so on, fuel generators, so one has to be a little bit less than 250% clock speed, but this will be sufficient for almost 27 fuel generators, and the rest of the 660 fuel will go into another 22 generators. So in total this will be 49, and I think one singular packager again has to be separated because maximum flow rate for Mark II pipelines is 600 and we are exceeding by just one packager, so one has to go separately into 2 fuel generators. And the exact layout I still have to consider how to do this best, but this is the plan for our fuel generators. And because we have not prepared the compacted coal setup yet and also do not have any connection for the train in order to transport the compacted coal here, first we have to set up the production for the compacted coal. Then we have to extend the train line over there. Then we have to set down actually the freight platforms in order to load and unload. And actually our power is almost at the pinnacle of the capacity. So this has to wait until this runs a little bit on its own. So the plan for the start is actually to go with only fuel, to feed 1020 fuel directly into fuel generators, which goes into 34 fuel generators, but we will still prepare the correct amount of fuel generators for the setup, including the turbofuel. So we will set down 49 fuel generators eventually, but use only 34 for the start. And as soon as we have extended our power line and it's stable, then we can add compacted coal and turbofuel eventually to the equation. But yeah, I showed 3 different layouts or streamline processes for this in the last episode. And for now, we will go with the oil crater setup version 1, let's call it that way, and eventually we will switch to version 2, including the turbofuel. So this is the plan, and now I actually have to think how to set up the fuel generators best. Okay, I did some testing, and the conclusion is that this space is not big enough. Because you can see here I put down 3 fuel generators. This might be the edge of where the fuel generators can be placed. And they're as close, stacked to each other as they can be. And we don't even have enough space to put 4 in one line. And if we go into this direction, I think we have room to set down 7, maybe 8. But anyways, this is way not enough room in order to provide 49 fuel generators for the power generation. So I still have to extend these foundations once again, maybe even double up the available space right here. But I don't think I will show this because you already saw me putting down enough foundations for here. I don't want to be too redundant, so I will do this as preparations in between this and the next episode, because I think there's still more preparation to do for the fuel generators and for the oil processing than I have expected once again, and I don't want to cut in the middle of preparations or right before we are about to start up the production. So I will cut it here, since I have to do further preparations, and then we can take the next episode to complete all necessary setups and finally start up this whole plant. So I don't know how long this video is gonna be. I think it will be a little bit shorter than the former ones, because I want to make it a little bit more lean, cut out more than I usually do, so that it's not too many blanks included, and maybe some improvements. So even though this might not be an hour long or maybe only 45 minutes, let me still know what you think. I am really curious about your feedback. Feel free to share any constructive criticism, any tips, anything that you liked, anything that you might want to see. But for this episode, I think this is going to be it. The sunset was just perfect indication for calling it a day. And the only thing that I want to say now is that I just saw the latest teaser from Coffee Stain Studios. I will link it in the description, and it gets me super hyped because it's showing some new details regarding power supply. So yeah, let's see what lies ahead of us in the upcoming update. Feel free to check, or you should definitely check out the latest teaser, and keep your eyes out, or keep your eyes open for the next dev talk from the community manager. And I hope I see you in the next episode. Thank you very, very much again for watching. Please consider subscribing and liking, and see you in the next one.